Hi there, Yannick speaking. We've been busy over the last couple of months adding several new features to 4SEO to make it both easier to use and extend its search engine's optimization capabilities to help you get more traffic. For 4SEO version 4.1 is out today, and there's of course the full changelog for it. But I wanted to get through the main improvements very quickly in this podcast with a focus on how these new or improved features can help you. So here we go. The first main feature is that you can now customize page title and other metadata on many pages with a metadata rule. One big addition to 4SEO 4.5 is to give you the ability to use patterns to customize automatically page title, meta description, robots, tag, or canonical with a new SEO rule type metadata. Being a 4SEO rule, all the actions below can be executed either on your whole site, but also only on one or more pages, and with the usual options for rules, which is to run the rule on one or more pages defined by their address, their URL, maybe only on some components or only on some categories, or even depending on the value of a Joomla custom field. So the first metadata group that you can modify is metadata for search engines, typically the page title, and on the linked blog post you'll see several examples of that. Typical use is to append something to your page title, for instance the name of your site, of your website. I don't really recommend that, but the interesting part here is that you can add several names or different name on different sections. For instance, you could add Weber blog. We could add Weber blog on our blog pages, but we could also add Weber shop at the end of the page titles for our e-commerce section if we had one, of course. Now, an interesting part or an interesting use of this feature is for e-commerce websites. And because 4SEO now provides product name, product brand, price, and description as specific tags, you can use them to build a custom description that's based on product name and product price. And this is a small trick that many e-commerce websites use. This will work with 4SEO and J2 Store or Ekashop. Now, another metadata which you can now modify with the rule is the search engine robots tag. This will control whether Google or Bing can access or should index some parts of your sites, and it's now really easy to entirely exclude part of your website with just one single rule. Let's move on to the content replacer. The content replacer now has a new target. You can replace content only in metadata. The content replacer in 4SEO was already able to replace some text only in specific part of a page, like the main content or modules or only the head section. But you can now be even more specific, and you can replace content and tags only in the page title, only in the meta description, and that's the whole point, inside of Open Graph and Twitter Cards metadata. Open Graph is what's used to decide what to show when someone shares a page from your website on Facebook, and Twitter Cards does the same for Twitter. A typical use case here would be to replace some words with their hashtags when sharing on social media, but keep the original word for search engines, for Google and Bing. Talking about social networks and metadata, up to now, 4SEO would automatically generate Open Graph and Twitter Cards metadata to control sharing over Facebook and Twitter. For that, it was reusing the regular page title and meta description used for search engine optimization. You can already manually customize these from 4SEO admin or even from the front end, but it was not possible to have a separate title and a separate description for search engines and for social networks. It's now possible, it's very easy, and you can do that both from the admin and also from the front end. Okay, you can now reuse redirects coming from the Joomla redirect component. Many Joomla users store redirects in the Joomla redirect component, and 4SEO, of course, provides a much more powerful redirect system. But if you started using 4SEO only recently, you may have many redirects stored in the redirect component. Up to now, it was not possible to use at the same time together 4SEO enhanced 404 error page handler and the Joomla redirect component. And the reason is simple. The Joomla redirect component is not really a redirect component. It can only redirect if a 404 error happens. That's already useful, but it means it does not fire if there is no 404 error. And when you were using for SEO enhanced error page, there were no more 404 error being triggered because, that was handled by the for SEO error page. And therefore, the Joomla redirect component was not triggered and was not working. Considering how important the enhanced for error page coming from for SEO is, I wanted to make sure that both could work together. So from for SEO 4.5, we now check the redirect component list of redirects before displaying the enhanced error page. And if there is any redirect in that component that applies, we do trigger it. And that way you can have best of both worlds. This feature is entirely automatic. There's nothing to do for you. Now, another big improvement, I think a very practical improvement, is that you can analyze a page immediately. Some of the most important features of for SEO are based on the fact that it runs in the background and it runs an analysis of your site. It starts from your homepage. It analyzes that page, finds all the links, and it repeats the process of analyzing and finding links until there's no more links. While in fact, it actually never stops, and it constantly monitors your site in case some new links appear in some page, or a page changes in one way or another, and it can then analyze that page again if so. For SEO, it really never sleeps. It never stops. That's how it can find all the pages that are visible on your website, or identify canonical and duplicate pages, locate broken links, and tells you exactly where they are. But this has sometimes a drawback, which is very visible on large sites. As it processes pages in the order it found them, it may have a backlog of pages not yet analyzed. And if you add a new article, it may take quite a bit of time before that new article appears in the list of pages, or even in the sitemap, and you can manually customize its metadata or social networks sharing information. But that's no more the case. You can now manually enter the URL of a page, and for SEO will analyze it right away. And this can also be used to refresh immediately some information. If you know a page that's already been analyzed, but you know it's changed recently, you can just update the data for SEO knows about it. And very importantly, you can trigger that instant analysis from the front end. So it's really easy to use that way. Okay, we are closing in now. I just wanted to mention an important for me. We now have another translation. Andreas provided us with a new full Lithuanian translation. I believe using a software in your own language is the most important factor to make it easy to use. That's pretty obvious, but sometimes we miss that point. We can't provide for SEO in all languages from around the world, but I'm proud to say that for SEO is already available in Danish, Dutch, English, French, German, Italian, Polish, Russian, Slovak, Spanish, and Turkish, and now also in Lithuanian. Remember that if your language is not on the list and you want to translate for SEO, get in touch, send us an email, open a ticket, and we can discuss that how that works. There are quite a few other improvements, less important, so you can check out the changelog as usual on the documentation page. That was a fairly long blog post and a fairly long podcast episode, but I think it's worth it. Thanks. I hope this was useful. Bye now.